Hello and welcome to our next science lesson. So today we are seeing if, as a scientist, can I explain the movement of the moon relative to the Earth? So bronze, you would be describing the movement of the moon relative to the Earth. Silver, you will be doing the same as bronze, and you will explain why the moon appears to be a different shape at different times within its orbit, referring to the sun. And gold, you will do as bronze and silver and explain the phases of the moon in detail. So what I want you to think about first is, what do you already know about the moon? Have a little jot down of some ideas. Pause me and have a jot down. Okay, so hopefully you're ready to have a talk through. So some people talk about the moon being made of cheese. Well, we know that that isn't true, and we'll see in the video just what the moon is made of. Maybe you've heard of different elements of the moon, craters. Maybe you've heard about people going to the moon and walking on the moon. You may have already done some learning about that when you've looked at the history of space exploration. So what we're going to be thinking about today is how is the relationship between the moon and the Earth. So we're going to watch a snippet from Maddie, Space and You from iPlayer, which you are very welcome to watch if you have iPlayer on your television or your computer. And this one is about the phases of the moon. It's actually the second episode. There are about 5 episodes in the series. All of them I'm sure are very good, but this one really deals with what we're looking at. So it talks about the moon from just after 10 minutes in. I'm going to share it with you, but just in case for any reason it fails and you can get there yourself. So while we're watching it, I want you to see if you can find the answers to how long does it take the moon to orbit the Earth, and why does the moon appear to be a different shape at different times within its orbit. Now, if you could just bear with me for a moment, because I have to swap the share that I've got for this to work. Okay.
I can travel in my spaceship. It takes about 3 days to get from the Earth to land on the moon. Whoa! The moon has been visited by astronauts from Earth, and when they were there, they could send information back to Earth to help us learn and find out more about space. Do you know what the moon is made of? The moon is made of rock. A giant ball of solid rock. There's no air on the moon, so nothing lives there. The surface of the moon is dry and dusty, it's hilly, cold, and covered in big holes called craters. Here at the Space Centre, they have an actual piece of rock that was collected by astronauts on the moon. But they also have a different type of rock called a lunar meteorite, and I've been given special permission to have a look. This is Claire. She works here at the Space Centre and is going to show us what the lunar meteorite looks like using a special camera. The lunar meteorite is a type of rock that's been blasted off the moon, travelled through space and landed on the Earth. Wow, it is an actual piece of the moon. Claire is using a microscope camera, which makes small things look much bigger. Can you see the darker bluey patches? That's a type of rock called basalt. So when you're looking at the moon in the night sky and you see those darker patches, you might be looking at basalt. And now, can you see the white, brighter patch? That's a type of rock called an anorthosite. It helps to reflect light from the sun, which makes the moon look really shiny. How amazing. It's like a special type of jewel. Have you noticed how the moon can look like different shapes? Sometimes it's round, like a dinner plate, but sometimes it's shaped like a banana. But why does the moon look like different shapes on different nights in the sky? Let's find out. We're going to pretend that this lamp is the sun, my head is the Earth, and this white ball is the moon. As the moon travels around the Earth, the sun lights up different parts of the moon. It takes about a month for the moon to travel around the Earth. When the moon is in this position, it's blocking the light from the sun. So on Earth, we can't see the moon, but it is still there. We call this a new moon. As the moon orbits around the Earth, can you see that tiny slither of light? It's the shape of a banana. We call this a crescent moon. As the moon orbits a bit further, can you see the half circle of light? We call this the first quarter moon. And when we can see the whole moon lit up, that's a full moon. As the moon continues to travel around the Earth, we get another half circle of light, but this time it's called the third quarter moon. And if we keep on going, we're back to where we started, with another new moon. The moon doesn't change shape, it's just that some parts of the moon are in the light and some parts are in the dark. It's our view of the moon that changes, not the moon itself. How clever is that? Can you remember the...
Okay, just give me a moment while I go back to sharing the PowerPoint. Okay, so I asked, how long does it take for the moon to orbit the Earth? And why does the moon appear to be a different shape at different times within its orbit? Okay, if you haven't answered those yet, but you remember the answers from the video, then pause me now. If you need to rewind and watch a bit more of the video, please do. I'm going to move on. Okay, so it takes about 1 month for the moon to orbit the Earth. Some people say 28 days, but I have read in other places 29.5 days, so approximately 1 month. Why does the moon appear to be a different shape at different times within its orbit? As Maddie showed us there, part of the moon is always lit by the sun. Sometimes, though, it's not the part that we can see. So the moon is between the sun and the Earth. At that point, we can't see the moon because the other side of it is lit by the sun. That's a new moon. From Earth, you can only see the part of the moon that the sun's light is bouncing off when it's not a new moon. The phases of the moon tell us how much of the moon you can see lit up by the sun's light, and they change over the month as the moon moves through the sky and through its orbit of Earth. So your task for me today, I would like you to have another go at an animation, if you can, to show this time the moon's journey around the Earth. You can do what you did before with plasticine, Play-Doh, spherical objects. Fruit was a great one that you used in the first session when you were showing me the Earth moving around the sun. If that's not possible, you're very welcome to do a label diagram or a poster as you did before. You are equally welcome to see if you can fix the Earth to your head like Maddie and move around. Please don't use super glue. And then you can get yourself a moon. That would be wonderful. I saw lovely stop motion ones last time. Whatever you can do would be fantastic. So I'd like you to make sure that you answer these questions for me. How long does it take the moon to orbit the Earth? And why does the moon appear to be a different shape at different times within its orbit? So the first question there, that's the bronze. The second question is the silver. Okay, and then gold, I'd love you to explain the phases of the moon. Now, I have given you some words at the bottom here, some of which were not mentioned by Maddie. So carefully, if you're going online, see if you can find some of these words to help you explain the different parts, the different phases of the moon. But if not, you're very well, if you're not feeling confident about doing that, and if there isn't a parent in the house to make sure that you are, and a parent watching to make sure that what you're going on is okay, you can stick to just using words like the crescent, the first quarter, the third quarter, the new moon and the full moon. You don't have to use the waxing, waning and gibbous, which are there, but if you can use them, that would be brilliant. Okay, so that is what I would like to see today in whatever way that you can do it, and I really look forward to seeing what you can come up with, because last time they were just fantastic. I do have one final screen for once you finish this. Okay, so if you'd like to pause me and go and do your task and then upload your wonderful videos if you're able to, or the brilliant posters that you're going to do, I really look forward to it. Remember that you're going to be needing to write a script to explain what is happening, just like Maddie did. She would have had a script to work from. So you're going to write and do that script for me. When you're ready, if you'd like to move to the next screen with me. Okay, so now I would like you to talk to somebody at home, and I'd like you to explain using the words orbit and rotate. I'd like you to explain the movement of the Earth in relation to the sun and the movement of the moon in relation to the Earth. So that's two things. We're going back to how the Earth moves around the sun. I'm not using the word that I want you to, the orbit word, that's what we need to use there, isn't it? And I'd also like you to talk about how the moon moves in relation to the Earth. Okay, just make sure that you're really confident with those words orbit and rotate for me, because they are different and you need to know that. I hope you've enjoyed your animations and I really look forward to seeing them.